Alright guys, what's up? So today I wanted to come and make a video because I haven't in like forever, and anyway. So today I want to talk to you guys about first drafts. So I was kind of inspired to make this by a tweet I saw on Twitter about first drafts is kind of just the way you figure out what your story is about and where it's going, which is 100% true. Now, when I was younger, I always viewed, well, first of all, actually, let me just start out. I've never been a second draft kind of person in school and in lots of things. Like when I was younger, when they made you do those like stupid worksheets, I don't know if you guys have ever done them, where it's like you have to like make your first draft and show your outline, and then make your second draft afterwards and show how it was different. So what I would do is I would just like not actually write my first draft. I just write about what I pretended I wrote about, and then write my first draft as like my final draft. And I will say though that I usually got pretty good grades. I've always been very English writing kind of person in school. Definitely not a math person. Not at all. So I mean, I guess, I'm more English oriented in my brain or whatever. But I was able to get away with that, which I think in the long run was actually kind of a bad thing because it didn't teach me the necessary skills to actually make drafts. And when I first wrote my very first completed novel, the first draft, I had no idea how to make a second draft. I had no skills on drafting. And also, just a second, guys. So I also want to apologize if I don't look at the camera and I'm kind of looking all around because like still kind of getting used to making videos and their format. So anyway, back to my point. I did not have the skills needed to draft and to know how to make drafts and how to improve on them. So that is my story. So when I had that first book written and it was horrible and I needed to make my second draft, I couldn't. And I kind of put that project on the back burner for more than one reason. Mostly because it was a very large, complicated book and I didn't have the skills to write it, and I don't still have the skills to write it. One day I will bring that book back from the dead, hopefully, and write it and make it awesome, but for now, I'm focusing on a smaller, better for my skills project right now. Anyway, so this time around, I have a more healthy idea of what drafting is, the expectations of the drafts of books, and how many drafts you actually have to go through. My thinking before was, I will make a draft, edit it, I'll be good. No, not how it works, ever. Everyone will go through different drafts. Some people may only take 1 or 2 drafts to make a good book. Some will take 3 or 4 or 10, I don't know. You will do your own thing. I do have to say, I think at some point you gotta stop drafting and actually finish the damn thing, but it's not what we're talking about today, so that's also just something I would point out. I think I will probably end up making 4 drafts of this book, to be honest. I know I'm gonna make quite a few drafts. This will be my first novel I will want to get published, so the expectation is going to be high on that I'm putting on myself because I want it to do good. So, anyhow, so you do have to draft. So the first draft, let's talk about that because it's been 4 minutes and I've just been rambling on. So, first draft. The first draft of the novel will vary person to person. If you are, someone who plots their novel, every detail, every breath the character takes, your first draft will probably be closer to what your novel will in the end be like. If you are a pants, and I hate that term, I call it exploratory writing. If you are an exploratory writer like myself, for the most part, your first draft is going to be just probably a shit show like mine is right now. It's going to be a mess, and that's okay because you're figuring out new ideas and things to incorporate along the way. So your second draft is going to be much different than the first draft and still quite a bit different from your final draft. So there's different levels everyone will be at with their first draft. But don't be afraid to deviate from your plan if you're a plotter, because you always will come up with new ideas, new character traits, things that will make your story better and more realistic. Like I say, with characters, you don't know who your characters are until you write them. You can think you know them, you can have all of their little things, all of their personality written, their Myers-Briggs tested, but until you write them in situations, write their dialogue, their actions, you don't know who they are, and they are going to change a lot. Not just in terms of their character arc, because that's a given, but in terms of who their personalities are. Maybe a character you thought was going to be more of a shy character will be a lot more outspoken. Or maybe your outspoken character is more not outspoken, but just more arrogant. And maybe you wanted someone who's outspoken and smart and, sure of themselves, but they're kind of just an arrogant butt. You'll figure out who they are along the way. My characters are a lot different. My main character, Ellie, she was supposed to be a very shy, she wasn't supposed to be shy. She was supposed to be fucking sassy and out there and like, I am Ellie and the world can suck my butt. Because, I wanted her to be so confident and sure of herself and sassy, because I love sassy characters. They are my favorite. Oh, they're so great. That's what I like in characters, so that's what I wanted her to be. But she is not. Ellie, as I wrote her and figured out more of her backstory, is very shy. She's not very confident at first of herself. She's someone who doesn't take charge. She is a follower. And this is part of her character arc. She doesn't stay this way. But, it's very different. And until I wrote it, I would have never thought that I would like that. Because I wanted to make a strong female character. And then I wanted to make a strong female character. And I thought that the way to do it was the way that I wanted. But turns out that this way is different, but it's in a way better than my idea. Same with a lot of my other characters. I had an idea of who they were, and as I wrote them interacting with each other, I figured out ways to make them more realistic and better. So don't be afraid to change things in your plot. And that doesn't just go with characters, it goes with your world building, with your plot itself. There's going to be lots of ideas you come up with along the way, especially when it comes to foreshadowing and subplots. I don't think you can very wellly foreshadow until you've written your first draft, because you need to see where things end up and little things along the way you can plant, little seeds you can put along the way for readers to maybe pick up on. So your first draft is going to be hella messy, guys. If you are a plotter, it will probably not be as messy. But if you are an exploratory writer like myself, it's going to be a shit show. But that's what drafts are for, and that's why drafts are so important. And I think for new writers, especially like me, for one reason or another, we don't think about drafting, or we don't realize the importance. We think we got to produce a great novel now. First draft is not your only draft. You have so much time to improve, so much time to get better. So, it kind of helps to take the stress off yourself when you are writing, to know that your first draft isn't as good. And there's also something else I want to point out with drafts. Everybody is a little different. Some people write too many words, some people write too few. I tend to be on the too few side, but I wouldn't be so concerned with your word count goal on your first draft. I'm kind of doing somewhere between young adult and new adult fantasy. When I Googled it, it's about 80,000 was a good, on the smaller side, but a good average word count. So, my goal is 80,000, right? But I'm about 36,000 words in right now, and I'm realizing I am much closer to the end than I think having almost 50,000 more words, See, not good at math, guys. Then having 60,000 words. I don't have $50,000. Oh my God, I can't even. I do not have 50,000 words worth of content left. I'm much closer to the end. And at first I felt really bad, like, oh, I gotta beef this content up, and I gotta get more words out. But I also don't explain my scenery very well. I don't show versus tell, I just tell because I'm getting the words out. So I realized that it's okay to cut my word count goal down for my first draft, because in my second, my third, etc., those are going to be when my word count's going to shoot up, because that's going to be where I'm actually explaining it rather than they walk through the forest, That's when I'm actually going to say something like, like explaining more, like they walked through the dark forest and the trees rustled in the wind, whatever. I'll explain more in detail about things. So that's for, and if you are someone who writes more words, that's not very helpful because it's someone who writes less words. But don't worry if you guys are, exceeding your word count goal, because y'all will be able to cut them down as much as it's going to hurt to cut words, But you're going to learn to write, you can learn to write more concise in your second draft. And it's nice in a way. I'm a little jealous of people who overwrite, because I think it's a lot easier to cut content than to create more content. So, I wouldn't worry about word counts too much. Having a goal to reach is a good thing, but be flexible with it. Again, this is your first draft. You guys have so much time to improve. We have time to improve, So, anyway, I hope this video was helpful. I feel like it's really rambly, but I feel like I'm getting a little better with the whole YouTube thing. Anyway, guys, look at my awesome shirt. It is a Nightmare Before Christmas shirt. It's my sister's. She gave it to me, so I have to show it off. I'm half, my face and my makeup is glowing, I think. And then this shirt's kind of lazy shirt, but anyway, I'm getting ready for work, so I'm oh, let's shoot a video. Oh, anyway. So I hope this was helpful for you guys. And you guys can follow me on Twitter at @thefoxywriter. I will maybe one day figure out how to link my social media. I'm fucking an old ass woman with technology. I don't know how to use it at all, and it's a thing. So anyway, you guys are gonna be freaking amazing writers, and I can't wait to read your books when you guys finish them. So anyway, have a wonderful day. So comment, subscribe, share, do all the things, and I will see you guys next time.